Hello, everyone. I wanted to give you an example of a plot diagram for a movie that I'm hoping you all have seen. It's really hard thinking of a movie that maybe everyone has seen, so I went with a classic movie that a lot of people have tended to see. So let's talk about The Princess Bride and what that looks like when you diagram the plot of the movie. Okay, so remember exposition, that's the very beginning. Who are the main characters? What's the problem of the story? Where does it take place? So for The Princess Bride, the famous story about Princess Buttercup and the man that she loved, Wesley, those are the two main characters. The setting is, like a Renaissance type-ish setting. It's not very clear where, okay? But we know it's during the time period where people rode horses and used swords, okay? So pre-gun. And the main problem depends on who you talk with, but you can kind of break down different conflicts. But the overall big major problem is Princess Buttercup and Wesley love each other and they're constantly torn apart from each other. So at first, Princess Buttercup thinks that Wesley is killed by um, the dreaded pirate, and then later finds out that he wasn't, but then she's kidnapped. So the big conflict really is Wesley and Buttercup are not able to be together. Okay. Life keeps ripping them apart. So the rising actions, these are things that make this problem worse. So a rising action would be Wesley Princess Buttercup thinks Wesley is killed by the dreaded pirate Roberts, okay? And then another rising action would be they find each other, but then she's kidnapped. Another rising action would be that she is being forced to marry the king. Okay. So these are examples of the problem getting worse, right? Because Princess Buttercup vowed to not love anyone other than her Wesley. The climax, this is where the problem is at its absolute worst. So if the problem is Wesley and Princess Buttercup can't be together, when is that problem at its absolute worst? And that is when Wesley is declared dead. Okay. And that's when we think the story is going to completely end. It's over. They're never going to be together. So that's when the problem's at its worst. But then, as you know, those of you who have seen this, he is not dead. He's revived. He's brought back to life. So then he schemes with his friends on how to get Princess Buttercup back because she's being forced to marry the king. So these are falling actions, them showing up at the castle. Um, and even though Wesley can't move, right, his friends helping him and him being in the wedding suite and Princess Buttercup getting married. All of these are falling actions because the resolution ultimately, that is the solution to the problem. So if the problem is Wesley and Princess Buttercup can't be together, the solution then becomes they are together forever and will never be torn apart again. So at the very end, when Princess Buttercup and Wesley get reunited and she isn't married to the king, she gets to be with Wesley forever, that's the resolution. That's the ending of your story. So as you're mapping out your own fictional narrative for project number 1, keep in mind this is the rising action and falling actions are what students tend to struggle with the most. But if you can just remember, up the hill, the problem's getting worse. At the very top, oh my goodness, it's the absolute worst. It's never going to get better. And then you start going downhill and it starts getting better. And then you're smooth sailing once that problem is solved. Or again, if you do like cliffhanger endings, I'm one of those, then you would end it on a cliffhanger. And then just know, just to advance your own learning, any movie, any story that lands on a cliffhanger, whole this whole diagram just starts all over again. So eventually it kind of looks like those heart monitors, right? Where the points go up and down. You can see all the lines. It's kind of what a series of stories and movies really is. I hope this was helpful. Please don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. I enjoy teaching you all so much, and I appreciate your time.